All right, we'll talk about what we're getting into next afterwards, but I'm thinking reality must have been inserted late, because there's no way we... Like, it's reality bracket T bracket. Like, I don't think we've seen him sign up like that before. So I don't think he signed himself up, is my logic.
Yeah, I think we just also would have noticed him. Like, that versus Tails and a him versus Sleep. It's another Terran Hope.
Reality Senpai. I gotta point this out. For those who missed it, oh, Hydra. There's a little face in the intro, because Twitter... We got out of hand on Twitter last week seeing this for the first time. Here's that image of this really stupid face here on the mini-map that I just can't unsee ever since. Okay. But okay, bottom left side of the map, it's going to be the Yellow Zerg player, Root Gaming's Hydra.
On the bottom right, as the red Protoss, it is Billowy.
And I think I said bottom right, I meant bottom left. I'm not doing so good today, man. That question about, like, is casting like riding a bike? The answer is no, apparently. Gotta give some love to 47 Nests, just up to the channel brand new. It's not showing up on the overlay for some reason. Thank you, Twitch alerts. But 47 Nests, nice new sub hype. We actually did finally fall on some more subscribers, but it's kind of to be expected with almost a week of no broadcasting. You're gonna be subscriber 100. Oh, excuse me, we haven't fallen that far. 1,133. So this number actually kind of sucks because I feel like if it's a little bit higher, we'd still be close-ish to another 69. And it's far enough away from the other version that it's just too far away, where you can go like 1,069. So let's see when we hit that number again. Hydra with those links are going to get across here pretty darn quick. Ruins of Endion is, of course, a 2-player only map, and I guess for those who haven't seen it before, enjoy watching it now. But Billowy panicking a bit. A cannon comes down, and he will have to put another pylon on the left side to fully wall this off. This pylon here is just meant to power everything after this one dies, but he does need the full wall off.
So, you know, Billowy with this forge is something that seems to be pretty exclusive to him. It's interesting, and certainly you would hope that this would be very safe, but Nexus going down regardless is not a great start.
Tails was doing this, let's try to remember. There's someone else who's doing forge openers. Now, this is a very expensive and unfortunate way to have to wall off the top of your ramp. A couple of cancels here and there trying to make up for it, but you're right, like losing that Nexus was pretty bad in the first place. These rocks, if knocked down, will lock Billowy in. And we've talked about this a little bit, where I feel like this map, it's interesting because you kind of create... Last time we saw this map, at least, I think it was like the Corsair Cup, whatever we were casting, it created this like no rush dynamic, where it's really passive, and these rocks being down meant that there was no aggression, so no problem. Maybe that's what Billowy was hoping for. But unfortunately, it's Hydra who got in here so quickly and took advantage of that false sense of security.
Mm-hmm. It seems like Ruins of Endion is just really good for any early pool. Like, I mean, at least versus Zerg and Protoss. We also see a lot of early pools on the Core Hall map. That's right. Because the same idea, though. Like, you can break down the rocks after you early pool, shut down any counterattack on the ground at the very least, and then continue to macro, where, like, this was already going to go well for Hydra. He got a Nexus cancel and immediately, like, backed this up with a double hatchery. So his macro is going to look good. He just had to be like a little bit afraid of like a depth runner across the map when he was droning instead of making lings. It's always something that the Protoss would want to try and do, just to hold them a little bit, and some retribution. But now it's not going to happen.
This goes twofold as well, because while the rocks here are up, you're going to have Hydra possibly able to knock his down as well. He's got eyes on this with the ling. He's left a ling down here to sneak in and run around too, and oh, that's a very pretty light beam going to this guy as ADD out from us. But yeah, like there's not going to be anything coming to his mineral line to threaten him anytime soon. I mean, it'll be a bit of a problem if he's playing too complacent, but again, with vision of these rocks, he knows when they'll go down. Meanwhile, Overlords do scout the main and the natural. Bit funny because the cluster of tech is actually covered by cannons, but there's not a lot of tech to reveal.
Yeah, there isn't. No Stargate, no Robo. No Twilight Council. It is going to be 4 gateways, so again, if these rocks are broken down, they're about halfway now. This could have been a nice enough adept attack, like it would have been 8, 10 adepts, and that would have been, you know, a considerable amount to make lings for, but they take forever to break down rocks. Like, Hydra is taking his sweet time getting to any attacking unit.
Yeah, of course, it takes a long time to break down the rocks, but the rock towers themselves don't have very much health at all. So, starting on it now with the queen, the guy needs to knock him down. He's building spines. I guess he's panicking a little bit, but he should have seen these rocks getting knocked down. I guess he just, I want to say didn't. 18 lings are on the way. He'll buy himself a little bit more time, but it's all about that Hydra den more than anything else. Got another brand new sub coming in, Corvinus.
Yeah.
Corvinus.
The upgrades on the way, including speed, but of course the upgrades +1/1 will not be finishing up. The rock towers are trying to go down. At the very least, they'll stop reinforcements, but most of the army's already going to get in. That one sentry's left behind. Nothing dies. Of course, nothing was actually trapped into there.
There's no ability to warp in on this side of the field either, so this does buy some very important time. On top of this, while the rocks are getting knocked down by Billowy once again, Hydra has gotten 3 spines up, so that's plenty to fight with. He's got some lings. Those aren't so hot, but I do like the 7 Hydralisks that are on the way.
Yeah, the Hydralisk, I mean, they're absolutely going to tear through everything. The one problem would be force fields, but I don't know if they're going to be good enough force fields with 3 spine crawlers helping out as well. The composition Hydra went for is pretty ideal against a gateway-based army. It's just that the time at which he got it is off a little bit.
Oh,
and actually,
the force fields are off a little bit too.
Yeah,
double time warps.
A little bit.
Booby time warps.
He should have gotten the spine crawlers, but the transfuses went down, and they're all 3 are still alive. The force fields have been used up, and now the Hydras can get a concave against Billowy.
This reminds you a little bit back when you had these gateway all-ins, and the only way to hold them off in HOTS was go for like a lot of spine crawlers in some instances. And the thing about that I kind of forgot about is that you can't force field off a spine crawler. It's going to be able to fight all the time, always. But Hydra taking the fight away from the spine crawlers was a little bit dangerous. Hydras, though, they've got that damage. They are pushing through this, and his supply is starting to bridge way over. GG.
It was close, man. Like, Hydra took his time killing his own rocks. That could have been worse.
Yeah. That was, it was not an easy win for Hydra, but at the same time, it kind of looked like easy. Either way, Billowy versus Hydra does leave Hydra in a nice 1-0 lead. Billowy, of course, has 2 familiar maps to pick from, with the options being either Dusk Towers or El Reina, but Invader, Frozen Temple, and Ruins of Indion are all the new maps added to the Olimoleague map pool, so players are going to have to get used to playing on them, whether they like it or not.
I did ask Billy with his map choices. I think he'd pick Dusk Towers, though. Like, borderline getting ready to just create the map.
I actually tweeted to StarCraft, Blizzard customer service, and Scion asking when we could change the background because Nova's grunt is annoying, and someone responded saying, I'm 90% sure it's the machine behind her. I don't know what the machine behind her does, but she looks off, like, she does this thing where she looks off to the side and she's like,
no, it's definitely not the machine.
Yeah, like it's definitely Nova. Like, even if they just remove the sound for that, it's like one small, very unnecessary. Like, I want to know what art team director was like, you know what? This is almost perfect, but you know what, guys? We got to add in one really annoying sound. We got to show some personality. Like, Nova's not, you know, she's too spunky. We don't want her to be confused with Tracer. Let's give her a little bit of gristle, you know? It's like...
That's what I've been hearing about the actual dialogue, anyway, in the mission. People are complaining that she's very like, I'm tough stuff.
There's that, but she also sounds very different. Like, it's apparently the same voice actress, but I swear it's not. It really doesn't sound like it. And some people are like, well, it's been 4 years, Nova's gotten older. I'm like, yeah, but I've played HOTS recently, like other things, like Heroes of the Storm, I mean, and there's like, it's the same voice actress. Something just sounds very different.
I'm guessing in terms of direction, she got a bunch of different tells, you know, like... Like, you know, okay, just be really gruff, okay? Like, you're a badass, okay? Got it.
Well, you know, Loco actually got to interview whoever it was. I can't remember the name of the guy who was, like, in charge of the Nova mission stuff. So maybe they have an answer there. I haven't listened to the full thing because it was quite long. But Loco's got that interview. Maybe I'll just go listen to that for my answers.
Maybe.
It's like 7 minutes in, they're like, oh, yeah, we thought it'd be hilarious. Players and anyone AFK at the screen for like more than a minute should be punished. So we've
just to remind you, come back to StarCraft. It is Dusk Towers, totally called it, and they're ready to go.
Yeah, go with what's safe. This is a common reoccurrence with every new map pool where everyone will just go with maps they know. And we'll see you guys here in a sec. Alright, game number 2 here for the Olimoleague currently underway. Gotta give a quick shout out to the Patreon for this, but we do have some action perhaps under our foot. See if this ends up being cannons or not. But this tournament wouldn't be possible without the Patreons and those involved with making this happen every single week. The money for the prize pool, all this good stuff, is all thanks to those who contribute to patreon.com/Olimoleague. And if you want to get involved too, there's some cool perks, some awesome rewards, things like replay packs that we don't hand out. BaseTradeTV has never been able to hand out the Olimoleague replays. It's a special feature you only get by being a Patreon. But there's some cool art, some cool behind the scenes stuff. It's all worth checking out. So once again, just lay it on thick, patreon.com/Olimoleague. But spawning on the bottom left side of Dusk Towers was his map pick, as he is on his last life in the early rounds of the Olimoleague. It is none other than Billowy, who is currently on a Freak of Freaks, I believe.
In the top right, as the yellow Zerg, it is Hydra.
Oh yeah, and didn't Patience is who else joined recently. I thought he was gonna go to like MVP for sure.
Why?
I don't know, it's his crew, I guess, if you know what I mean. Like, it just seemed like it was gonna make more sense.
Well, in terms of I guess play, I kind of put Africa, Freaks, and MVP on the same level.
Yeah.
I don't really care about them.
I don't think they're gonna be the most premier teams, but I think Hydra's a very good player, and I think Africa Freaks is as funny as it is to say, like, considering the Korean roster of both teams, and we know both of them pretty well, I'd say there's better potential on Africa Freaks right now than, say, MVP. But MVP really does have some good players. They just never seem to really... I don't know. It's like that kid in high school. You're like, you got potential, man. You just apply yourself.
Yeah. I mean, Africa backing... a team is always going to be, I think, better. You know, you'd hope that they actually have like a better team house, or they actually like hire coaches and stuff like that. But I don't know. Not that I've been watching a lot of Pro League, to be honest. I just haven't been interested in the VODs, and of course I'm not going to stay up that late. It's like, oh God, no. I mean, just
I'm just thinking, like, because I don't know the full roster of Africa Freaks, right? But you've got Billowy, obviously, shoutouts, why we're talking about this. Super, who's won several tournaments that we've hosted in Cast. Alive, Bomber. Who's the Zerg on the team? Obviously not Life. Is it Curious?
Used to be.
Is it Curious? I want to say Curious.
Maybe.
Either way, they've got, like, and with Patience joining it now too, like a really good roster. Like, I really want to see good things happen.
Yeah. I think you're waiting to be banned for the 2-month resub. Still waiting.
Still waiting, yeah. that skeleton that is when I was making the replies about the WCS handbook. Error me about scheduling. Just still waiting.
Well, the Stargate opener is here for Billowy, expected on Dusk Towers. I think his early scout was just to see if Hydra was early pulling him again, because it seems that, I guess, him and Tails both, like, if they're going to go for the scouts, and they're going to be prepared to throw down a forge, need be. But there was no necessity. Hydra was going for a hatch, and tried to go for an earlier third hatch too, but Billowy did block it out with a pylon, so it's just coming down now and getting droned up. But it's Dusk Towers. Nothing's really going to be happening for the next 4 minutes, probably. Except for a little bit of Phoenix harassment. Billowy should be able to get its own third base up soon.
Well, Phoenix harassment aside, I am curious what the late game for this is going to look like. We've seen this all too many times, and I feel like even with the new maps and the select games we've cast on them, it doesn't feel like it's changed up the Protoss Zerg dynamic that much, where I feel like the Zerg player really has this great, awesome opportunity to play and win and do whatever they like up to a point. And then the Protoss, well, if they can sit back on 3 and 4 bases, they get that Golden Armada going. There is going to be a point in the game where the Protoss, I feel, is just you can't beat them with what's currently available for Zerg, especially on Dusk Towers. That split map situation, not a situation you want to be in. But again, for Hydra, you double expand. You see Billowy playing passive. You just take half the map under your control and then throw money at your opponent. You can just body them hardcore, and it happens all too often. I really want to see Billowy change things up. But with a Phoenix opener, it just kind of feels like this is the path we're heading down.
A little bit. I mean, there could be some attack from Hydra with like mass Ling Hydra, because I don't think he has a oh no, he does Roach one. Does he have speed? He does have speed. Okay, so maybe Ling Hydra, maybe he'll invest into Roach speed, or maybe just go for a lot of lurkers. That's another attack we've been seeing, just as many lurkers as possible, as soon as possible, and then trying to keep them off of fourth base, like just go on the ramp and keep them back, especially if they don't have enough immortals to begin with. And Billowy did hold off on his robo production, but he's kind of making up for it now by stopping down 2 robos at a time while he's getting his upgrades. And the Overseer, damn, the Overseer's fast. We'll see this. So, no Observer yet, no Immortals yet.
Shouts to Duke Mar for the 19-year month, second, whatever, resub. Good to see you, man. Queen gets a little bit far away from the support color, so she gets picked off as well. But these Hydras, or sorry, not Hydras, excuse me. These, well, I guess the Hydras are on the way, but these 2 Queens do come up to drive these back. Now, for the Phoenix, again, like you pick off a Hydra here and there, you stop some drones, cool. But you're limited by energy, and I think every Zerg player knows that. So there's almost I'd say, desire of some, just like, you know what, I'm just gonna make 40 drones because I know you can only lift up like 17 at most. Comfortably drone behind this. Double Robo is completely revealed by that Overseer as well. Kind of important to note, considering Lurkers are going to be in play, and he's going to be coming up against Immortals. I'm thinking back, though, to the games with Neeb. Neeb versus Guru had some pretty cool Disruptor play versus Lurker dynamic. So Disruptor's still proving that they've got a place in the matchup, but just, again, Immortals being these tier 2 units and get like 500 health with the help of their barrier. 7 more gateways get slapped down behind this. I mean, you can really go for just this very meaty army and still make it work versus lurkers.
Yeah, for sure. But it will have to be that bigger army right now. There's not so many immortals yet. There's not so many charge lots, and charge is actually even done. Templars are coming in, and we'll see if he's going to use them as Archons or try and invest into Storm. It certainly has the minerals and gas for it, and okay, it is going to be that Storm. As well as starting at +2 upgrade. Hydra's scouting has really been on point. I mean, and same with Billowy's, really, because the Phoenixes have been roaming around and do whatever they can.
Yes, but at the same time, it's been like 1 Overseer, and as you can see, still doesn't die. It kind of like... It's almost like Billowy, so you know what, just scout me, please. Try to map hacks, because I'm not even going to put the effort in to kill this.
Yeah.
The Phoenix finally come home. Looks like they should be able to shut this out, but this is certainly a lot of information revealed. Now you bring up the topic of Storm, which obviously is going to be good against Hydras. The Zealot Charge, fantastic against Hydras, good against drones as well. But Lurkers have got the health to eat a Storm. Lurkers have got the health to take a Zealot Charge to the face. The question really comes down to, whatever and however you plan to use these Storms and Zealots, is it good enough to make way for the Immortals? Because these are the true danger.
But finding that concave and finding, well, basically a nice position to take in army fights. Hydra is not really keen, apparently, on moving out. Oh, there he is. Actually, there he is. There he is.
So we brought this up during the CSL cast about transparency of the minimap, right?
Yes.
And for some reason, it's just Creep Spread that does this. Every other part of the minimap is perfectly fine as it should be, but for some reason, Creep Spread suddenly... It's like when you've got tissue and you drop like put a droplet of water on it and it becomes sort of see-through. Like, this is so irritating. I can't deal with this. It's like such a minor detail.
I only noticed it when you pointed out.
I can't.
Hydra did take his time pushing out, but now he has like a ton of lurkers into the Hydras because it took a while to push out. I mean, Billowy has all of the upgrades he would ever want now as well. Charge.
Oh god, 4 overcharges.
Up in Storm. And he's actually not doing a bad job taking down the Hydra count, but that lurker count is still pretty strong. Storms are being used up. I think he has 1 more to use on the rest of the Hydras.
No, there's no detection, I don't think. There's 1 observer, excuse me, does pops. He's got that out to go. 2 of them now ready to fight. That's what was keeping him back from pushing into the lurkers. The Storms clean this up, but I gotta say, like, Hydra gave away so much of his army walking into 4 overcharges, walking into Storms, fighting uphill. Like, there's about a million things wrong with taking that engagement.
Yeah. I'm not sure. Yeah, there wasn't a hurry. He's on 4 base. True, he's not advancing his tech any farther, and that's like one worry, I suppose. But if you just got the lurkers on the low ground and the Hydras too, and force them to come out like 1 at a time very cautiously, that probably would have gone better. But maybe he saw a cool move. Maybe he was hoping to catch the Protoss without Storm, without Charge, or something like that. But Billowy has He's already at everything he needed to be at, and the game is still not over for sure. Hydra on almost 80 drones, remaxed pretty quickly, and had enough time to get more lurkers as well. But it is approaching that point that now that Billowy has taken down one lurker army, another lurker army is probably not going to be that bad, especially because he saved like all of his immortals, I think. Like, and didn't even lose that many High Templars. Like, he only lost really charge lots.
He did. Not a single immortal died.
That's amazing then. That's much better for Billowy.
Of course, that income game is only going to be able to play for so long, because for Hydra, the next problem might not be remaxing on minerals and gas, it'll be on larva. You just use up his whole larva to make this army round 2.
Yeah. And Billowy's army is just getting better against what Hydra has. Now, a couple of Ling Run buys is pretty good, especially if they're buying time for something. Right now, Hydra's just really maxing out and getting his own upgrades. I think we need to start thinking about Hive, of course.
Oh, he could have killed that Nexus.
Not even a station pit.
I don't know about the choice to save Lings here. That's questionable. He could have definitely knocked down that Nexus, but maybe just waits to come back later when the army's out of position. Otherwise, he is going to react back at home. Warp Prism comes in, puts in a couple of Zealots. You can never ignore these. Zealots with +2 in charge, you're just going to tear your mineral line apart.
Yeah. Nothing to take care of the Warp Prism either. No Spire, no like Vipers that come and abduct it. Like, it's just going to float around freely and continue to harass, while Billowy also cleans up the creep at the front, just a little bit here and there.
Lurker drops went off while this went on, by the way. Didn't kill much, but did drive back the mining. It's kind of cool to see out of Hydra. I like these get around the army tactics.
Hydra's army, I mean, I know he's banking so much because he's going to need to remax again, but I really question, is remaxing better than trying to get tech, while Billowy is still kind of hesitant to push into your main army, you know? Like, he's been just posturing around the creep for the last minute or two, and, a little bit of Warp Prism harassment, and that could have all been time Hydra has gone for a Devastation Pit. He'd already be on his way to Hive. He might have started the Spire. I mean, now Billowy is kind of already advancing past Hydra in that tech, getting to those Tempests already. I mean, 12 more Lurkers on the way. It sounds like a pretty beefy army, but Mass Immortal charge out Storm.
No,
it
gets caught in the middle of the map, so a lot of the Hydras get picked off immediately. Oh, geez, that hurts. That army supply took a pretty big dip for Hydra, who was actually on a pretty nice fighting force. Gotta give some love to Backtrack1, Lasher86, and Kinky Mouth. Thank you all for resubbing to the channel. Revelation does coat most of these lurkers, and I mean, I really like the little lurker drops that went on behind this. That was kind of cool for harass factors at a Hydra, but that's come to an end. So now he's gonna have to hold the lines while Billowy continues to get towards air tech. And once he gets towards air tech, well, the game might be over before that even happens. These storms are plentiful. Immortals still living up to their name. Not a single one has died.
I guess all of their shields are down, so they do have to be careful. Well, not all their shields. Apparently there were 2 more, but still a lot of them shields are down. So now when they looked invincible against lurkers, they are going to start going down, but there's still a lot of fodder to chew through. A lot of charge lots, a couple of Archons helping out. A mass Ling reinforcement could actually do okay against the Immortals, but not with the help of Archons and charge lots.
Immortals are very silly units.
I just don't know about Hydra's choice to stay on this composition. He must have known that the time was approaching. Protoss is getting too strong.
Yeah. Well, it's proof that I'm not making up that statement, but we're going to go to a small commercial break, guys. GG gets called. Game number 3 will be Hydra's pick, and we'll see you guys in 2 minutes. Alright, welcome back. We're getting into Frozen Temple for map number 3. Of course, this is the Olimoleague. It's spawning here on the bottom right side. It is going to be Root Gaming's yellow Zerg player, Hydra.
In the top left, as the red Protoss, it is Billowy.
Stupid enter button. Thank you, by the way, to Max Diffie and Senka Uded for both resubbing to the channel while we were on that break. Big love to both.
You do.
But question, and a fair question gets asked in chat. Darak says, BaseTradeTV, what units beat this mass immortal charge-led army? I mean, a big aspect of it, too, let's not forget about is the storms that he's left out of his question. But truthfully, we've been seeing a lot of Zerg players sort of err towards, like I say, funny word to say, air tech. Mutalisks being a very deadly thing to do recently. But even though you've got that thing where, okay, maybe mutas are a good choice, maybe they're not because they went for the Phoenix opener. When it comes to the ground composition, a lot of it really is just trying to get further and further in tech. Like Hydra really stuck on what, just Hydra's, a couple of lanes. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
You put blinding clouds in there, suddenly the immortals can't shoot. You get a couple of broodlords in the sky to siege it from the backside. There's no perfect answer for it because we've talked about this, and at a certain point in the game, it is just going to heavily tilt in the favor of a Protoss player. And I think that has a really unfortunate factor when it comes to that situation.
Of course, Hydra's first attack, which was pretty important, did not do very well. Yeah, it was pretty bad. And that kind of set up the pace of the game where I'm guessing Hydra felt like, oh crap, I didn't kill any immortals, he's going to attack me and I'm going to lose. And that's why he felt so pressured to stay on his current tech, because it would be better than losing the game because you tried to tech and be greedy. But basically, yeah, if you don't do something like that, if you do just pin them back a little bit and wait, then going for different tech, higher tech. We seem so effective with Ling run-bys by Guru, was it?
Yeah, I think it was Guru.
Yeah, I think so. Because he was also going for the masked lurkers, wasn't he?
Yes, and he would club them all together in a silly
Yes.
fashion.
So Guru has been like the masked lurker thing, whatever. I don't really appreciate that. But he's been going for like Ling upgrades and counterattacks, which on different maps can be very effective. Dust Towers, not so much. But even then, Hydra did almost get like a fourth base with Ling attacks.
My suggestion, such argument would be like Hydra's first attack, since that seems to be a big point to talk about. I was really curious what this was going to be. I guess Dark Shrine proxy. Hydra's first attack last game, rather than pushing into that ramp, could have either baited at the overchargers and then maybe takes a better fight as a follow-up. I don't know, because you still got the storms to deal with. But someone in chat brings up a really great point and saying it should have been a contained, and I 100% agree. Like, I don't think he even would have hard contained, even just a soft contained, delay that forth, buy that pressure. Like, those Lings didn't get it, the kill, they got the full surround. I mean, there's just so many different little things that could have happened in that game, and a lot of what ifs, of course. But I think for Hydra, we all agree the worst thing he could have done was run into a ramp with storms and 4 overcharges waiting for him.
Yeah. Which I think he recognized, but, you know, his mistakes were already made. Pretty quickly.
So, again, that Immortal Army looks unbeatable and ridiculous. It's certainly not. But I will say the biggest beef I have had, ever since I saw Nurture bring it up, because it was not something I considered, it's insane that Immortals are these 500 health units that come out so easily, double produced 2 at a time. Like...
It's getting to that point where, like, originally I was like, wow, Immortals, thanks for coming back into the matchup, you know? Like, as opposed to just being pure Blink Stalker. But it might be, once again, that ZvP has a problem. Zerg has a lot of options, technically, although Lurkers are still one of the backbones of their composition. But Protoss seems to be just kind of like, okay, it's either Mass Immortal or die, which is fun enough, but not, you know, after seeing it 50 times in a row. So that's a little disappointing, and I'm sure Protoss eventually will have an issue with it, just like they had issues with their constrained feeling in Heart of the Swarm. Well, that's still a little while off.
Okay, we probably have to stop talking about like what ifs and stuff in a moment, but quick shoutouts to Snipe Hunt for that 2-year resub. We're gonna have the Dark Shrine come into effect here in just a moment, but the last point I want to leave on this is like the Immortal problem, quote unquote. Like there's so much of this shifted around the Disruptor. Things got changed. Colossus were nerfed. Like, I really wish they didn't make air such a problem for Protoss to deal with, so that we could see something like Disruptors be used more rather than just Immortals. But anyways, that's a whole other can of worms, as 3 DTs have now finished warping in, and because this will catch Hydra initially with no detection, he can either go 1 per each drone line and get some drone kills, or you can put all 3 on the hatchery, focus it down, and kill it.
You usually don't want to do this, though.
No, 3 per 1 mineral line is not perhaps the greatest answer.
It's very awkward to see this, in fact, because, like, Griffin's absolutely correct. It's either 1 in each mineral line or 3 on top of a hatchery to kill it, absolutely. It looks like there was already an Overseer, though, so, like, whatever choice he had made, it would have been not bad to clean up. I think that the 3 in each mineral line would have been worse.
Well, 3 in each mineral line, hell yeah.
Oh, yeah, sorry, 1 in each mineral line would have been worse.
Yeah, I mean, like, again, it got about 12 drone kills, so it's hard to argue that that was terrible, because he did only lose 1 DT for it, but Warpers are now coming across the map. We'll see what that brings with it. This might warp in some more DTs. It might just be Zealots or Depths. Either way, will be spotted immediately.
Yep. I mean, this is not unexpected. Despite this being a proxy, which obviously makes it more dedicated, Dark Shrine openers are not necessarily like the end-all be-all, like, oh god, it didn't work, let me just quickly die here. But it does, you know, it's commitment, and you can do more with it. And that War Prism usually adds a lot more to it. Now, these aren't DTs. They didn't go pick up the DTs. They're just adepts, but it is that idea. It's also not that ineffective against mutas. If as long as it doesn't just immediately die because you don't know mutas are on the way, which is my question right now. Does Billowy have that scouting?
No.
He does. He just got it with the Warp Prism, but it was very late.
Oh, okay. There we go. Well, the Hydras are out. Or sorry, not the Hydras. The mutas are out. The Hydra's den's still coming. I don't actually know there's enough on the ground. It's a bit of an awkward situation because the Sockers don't have upgrades. They don't even have Blink, so they're not that fantastic. But as we see, if the mutas get caught by the Archon, a couple Guardian Shields, the Sentries, you get absolutely wrecked by this. So starts darting across the map, but if this ends up being a base trade for Hydra, normally I'm all in favor of Zerg players going for base trades, but he's going to be doing this against someone who has DTs that can just be warped in.
Good point. Yeah, I don't see an Overseer with this army, so they could be warped in defensively. As you can see, that third base ability wasn't really being used. It was almost a fake. Only like a couple of probes on it, so they just pulled that away. And it is more about defending your main and natural, which has the production and your tech. As this is a very early base trade, one of the earliest that I've seen. I haven't seen this since like people tried to go like 2-base muta versus Immortal Sentry Element. Like it's very early. There's not a ton of mutas. There's not. The minerals aren't already gone from the main and natural.
It wasn't really a base trade though. This is kind of a cool move out of Hydra that I like a lot actually. And it was more like, all right, I have to pull my units away while I bulk up. Rather than leave them AFK, I'll do something with them. So he comes back home now. He cleans this up, and you're right, like a little base for base, so base trade, but like not the all-in. I'm winner losing the game with this move. But at the same time, it is still 19 drones left over afterwards.
Yeah, it might have been better to go for the actual base race. Well, there needs to be some like in-between word for that.
He couldn't though, and a big part of this was because there was like overcharges waiting. There was that immortal blocking this with 5 pylons here. Like,
what?
Billowy's gonna be the one to tap out. Oh, his army got destroyed in the middle of the map.
It did get destroyed, yeah. I guess it was a... He had 1,200 minerals, 500 gas. He could have tried holding on, but I guess he figured with the third base dying, Hydra was going to out-expand him.
Right, and you consider, like, he might not know that he killed almost all of Hydra's drones. And that point, irrelevant for the moment, because he did... like, what he saw was he killed 1 hatchery with almost no tech behind it. I think he got the Spire, but that was it. Like, there was a very disappointing amount of damage for what an all-in with his army was.
It's true. The fact that he got a hatchery and a Spire, like the Spire especially, if he only could see the drone count, he might have stuck in the game.
I think.
But oh well.
The worst part about that though was him losing means now it's all Zergs.
Yeah, that's too bad.
Actually, did Pet start versus Reality yet? No. All right, so we got 2 options. We can either do Hydra versus Soul Key or hop the first semifinal, True versus Tang Tang. I'm kind of actually in the favor of trying to elongate this because of how short the Olimoleagues have been recently.
Okay, I'm gonna do Reality versus Pet.
Oh, is Reality versus Pet hasn't started?
I thought that's what you said.
No, I said Soul Key versus Hydra. Hang on. We're gonna go to commercial break while we figure this out, guys. One sec. BRB.